In Fallout 4, every single corner of the wasteland hides something worth grabbing, whether it's a game-changing legendary item or literal junk. Looting is by far the most used mechanic in Fallout 4, so what would actually happen if you couldn't loot anything at all? To fully understand this challenge, I will quickly explain what I think counts or doesn't count as looting. Scavenging a container or a corpse for its belongings I consider to be looting. Buying something from someone is not looting. Getting a reward from someone is also not looting. And this last one may be a little controversial, but I don't consider scrapping items and buildings to be looting because it instantly transports all the items to the workshop storage. Just, ignore the fact that you're gonna have to take them out of the storage if you wanna use them. The game begins with my stupid bitch wife suggesting we go to the park on this beautiful sunny day. I nipped that shit in the bud almost immediately because I only married her for her TV. Gilbert Grogglebottom is the name, strength, endurance, and charisma is my game. The man inside my television informs us of a nuclear oopsie about to happen, and I'm not looking to add a fourth leg on top of my third one, so we escape down to a nearby vault. Instead of living the rest of our lives happily watching HD television in the vault, we're put into cryogenic deep sleep. I was having the most wonderful dream involving Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and a malfunctioning butt plug, but that dream was sadly cut short by my wife getting shot and my son being kidnapped. When I woke up for the second time, I realized that along with my son, my ability to loot was gone as well. And if I wanted to experience the sweet bliss of looting ever again, I would have to find Sean. The rat roaches inside the vault were successfully beaten to death. I cried when I saw unlootable loot, and believe it or not, already failed the challenge when I had to pick up the Pip-Boy from a dead scientist. Fuck. Just like a child who was shot by another child's imaginary finger gun, I'm not gonna count that and proceed with the challenge. Now finally outside of the vault, I spoke to Codsworth, logged into my second job as the neighborhood exterminator, and Concord tells me to go to Codsworth. That's not how that goes, to look for more leads about my missing son. My son has been missing for about 60 years already, so he can surely wait another few hours while I scrap everything I can in Sanctuary. If you scrap containers with items in them, they automatically get stored in the workshop storage. And that is why through my scrapping efforts, I managed to get a 10mm pistol, a limited supply of 27 rounds for it, and a 2-hole frag grenades. Now armed with the standard issue loadout of a child soldier in Africa, it was time to finally go look for my missing son in Concord. Along my way to the economically stable town of Concord, I tamed a small giraffe and leveled up to level 2 when discovering Concord. Right outside the Museum of Freedom, I spotted some local entrepreneurs trying to pitch Preston some premium life insurance while actively trying to kill him. That's some good marketing. I politely declined on his behalf, and with a single swing from the bottom of my gun, took a man's head off like a loose bottle cap. When his head cleared the tree line, I realized that the easy difficulty may in fact be a little too easy. I turned up the difficulty to normal, now took a little longer to cave in someone's skull, and went inside the Museum of Freedom. Bullets were a rare commodity, especially now in the early game, so I was gonna resort to gun bashing to save ammo whenever it was possible. At least that's what I told myself right before getting my brain fucked by stupid and missing all my ammunition on a single raider. I reloaded a previous save and went back to gun bashing, which cost me a lot of HP. HP that I couldn't possibly heal since I have no way of acquiring stimpaks at the moment. Fortunately, leveling up actually increases your max HP and fully replenishes it, so that wasn't too big of a problem just yet. I eventually find Preston Gargoyle, and he tells me to acquire a suit of power armor that's on the roof of the building. The problem with that is that it's mandatory to loot this fusion core to get inside that said power armor, which of course fails the challenge. Well, there you have it. The challenge is officially not possible. But for the sake of grinding what's left of my sanity into ash to see what kind of hallucinations I start getting at 4 AM, I decided to keep going with the challenge. I let the Deathclaw tickle the life out of all the raiders nearby, wasted the rest of my ammunition on the remaining Deathclaw, and proceeded to show it who the real apex predator around here really is by mildly inconveniencing it to death with my bare hands. After wiping out all the shady insurance salesmen and their above-average size Komodo dragon mascot, my favorite heroin addict method actor Mama Murphy tells me to go to Diamond City if I wanna see my son ever again. I wasn't exactly sure if that was a threat or if she was trying to point me in the right direction, but whatever it was, I knew that I had to go to Diamond City. Along the way, I ran into a settler who gave me 50 caps when I helped him kill some mole rats, and discovered Cambridge Police Station, which made me remember that Paladin Dance actually gives you a very powerful weapon if you help him with a mission. I wasn't much help with the ghouls outside the police station because I didn't wanna be, but despite my lazy bone, I did manage to convince Paladin Dance to hire me. Together with Paladin Dance, we arrive at ArcJet Systems, make our way inside, and begin domestically abusing the synths inside the building. The synths inside were actually way stronger than I anticipated, so I pretty much used Dance as my personal attack dog / human shield for the whole mission. Having no heals was definitely starting to be a bit of an inconvenience by this point, but then again, who needs stimpaks when you have the floor puddle? Sure, I may have been close to being illegally dead for a second, but nothing brings you back to full HP quite like a refreshing sip of some good old-fashioned hepatitis A. Even though I was going against the strongest enemies I've encountered so far, with 0 bullets to my name and on the verge of spontaneous combustion, I would say that the most dangerous part of this mission was actually this novice computer hack that held my brain hostage for 10 whole minutes. Me brain no working very goodly. After giving Dance a permanent vacation 10 with a jet engine and factory resetting the remaining synths, I realized that this mission requires looting to complete it. Well, that was a waste of 30 minutes. I managed to convince the guards to let the naked mole rat looking man that is me inside the walls of Diamond City. I reached into the final anal bead of my budget to buy 33 rounds of ammo and arrived at Nick Valentine's office. Instead of finding Nick Valentine himself, I find his assistant, who tells me that Nick has actually gone missing near a place called Park Street Station. Overcome with sudden overwhelming maternal panic, I extorted Ellie for 200 caps and was off to rescue Nick Valentine. When discovering Park Street Station, years worth of Mitten Squad videos started echoing in my head, and I remembered something huge that could possibly help me during this challenge. I don't actually know the specifics, but I do know that if you help a Deacon from the railroad with a mission, he gives you a silenced pistol, which would be perfect to make the most of my limited ammunition. After following the Freedom Trail, I solved the railroad puzzle, spoke to Deacon for his mission, and met him somewhere. Deacon tells me that we're supposed to go to the old railroad HQ, currently occupied by synths, to retrieve something of great importance. Using some convincing sound waves, I persuaded Gary, otherwise known by his nickname Foot Fungus, to give me 3 stimpaks, and we made our way to the old railroad HQ. This place was pure hell. I used my entire arsenal of 33 bullets just to get to the railroad, so I was stuck facing an entire synth army with nothing but a paperweight gun and Deacon by my side. As you can probably guess, my only option in this situation is to completely rely on Deacon to eliminate all the synths in our way. The only problem with that plan is that the synths are tanky as fuck, and Deacon here is about as useless in a fight as a crippled baby squirrel that also has every disease and virus known to man. And it's been shot 24 times. It took Deacon damn near 5 to 10 minutes to eliminate even a single synth, and there's at least 10 or more synths in this mission. So by using advanced math, we can precisely calculate how much of a pain in my ass this mission was. Very. Once we finally made it to the end of the mission, I'd be lying if I said I didn't nearly have an aneurysm when I saw that I had to loot the item we came here to pick up. Who could have guessed? Fortunately, that's only to complete the mission, whereas Deacon actually gives you the gun right before that. With my new toy now acquired, I exited the HQ and realized that I was pretty close to Drumlin Diner, so I decided to go there to earn some easy money. I got 44 caps from flirting with Wolfgang and another 100 as a reward from Trudy. I used those caps to buy 36 rounds from Trudy, went to Diamond City to sell some stuff I got primarily from scrapping, and bought another 26 rounds from Arturo. After testing out the quality of these rounds on Diamond City's residents, I finally arrived at Park Street Station to rescue Nick Valentine. Boy oh boy was this pistol worth the hour and a half I spent getting slapped around like Chris Brown's significant other in 2009. Close to mid-range, this little puppy could 1 or 2 shot most basic enemies, which drastically saved my ammo consumption. You know, assuming I didn't miss. After getting a little too trigger-happy with Dino, I successfully rescued Nick Valentine from captivity. During our escape, I used up most of what was left of my ammunition and convinced Skinny Malone, the name's ironic, to let us leave the vault unharmed. Next, I leveled up to level 9, picked Gunslinger for more pistol damage, and arrived back in Diamond City to collect my bounty of 200 caps from Ellie. I spoke to Nick about my son's kidnapper, and he suspects that the person we're looking for is the primordial ancestor of all bald men named Kellogg, who just so happens to have an apartment in Diamond City. After putting on the trip given to me by Ellie, I bought some ammunition from Arturo and convinced the mayor to give me Kellogg's house key. With Kellogg's house key, we're able to enter inside, and when the hidden room was revealed, so was the fact that I would have to once again loot an item in order to progress the story. Sadly, with no other option, I had to pick up Kellogg's used butt plug and let Dogmeat take a sniff. I followed Dogmeat for a tedious amount of time while making sure to save ammo whenever I could, until we eventually run into a mutated bear that I simply had no chance of beating to death. With no real way of dealing any damage to it, I was forced to sit on top of a nearby fallen tree and pray for the best. Surprisingly, my prayers were actually answered when some random woman named Nez shows up, kills the bear, executes my dog, and hires me for a job I persuaded her to give me 200 caps for. That is some truly divine intervention indeed. Next, I had a boxing match with a family of Mirelurks, and finally arrived at Fort Hagen. As I was making my way through Fort Hagen, I quickly realized 2 things. 1. These synths were stronger than my urge to microdose Viagra during a job interview, and 2. I did not have enough ammo to complete this mission. With a sliver of HP remaining, I decided that the best course of action was to leave Fort Hagen, hydrate my HP back up to full, and do the job Ness hired me for so I can go buy some more ammo. The problem is that the job requires me to help with eliminating a group of raiders by using my bullets combined with my gun. So who knows if I'm actually gonna end the mission in profit. Luckily, that was no longer a worry when I was able to persuade Ness at the end of the mission to give me 100 extra caps. I went back to Diamond City to buy some ammo with my paycheck and returned to Fort Hagen with 28 more bullets than I originally left here with. After expertly maneuvering my way past most of the synths without shooting, I eventually find Mr. Baldspot himself, Kellogg, while still having 38 bullets remaining. I proceeded to hit Kellogg with a sneak attack in the middle of the room and in full view of everyone, which thanks to my lucky limited edition McDonald's Shrek glass I keep stored in my rectum, actually worked. After taking out Kellogg's former bodyguards, it seems that once again, the game developers completely forgot to take into account my absurd way of playing the game and forced me to loot Kellogg's brain piece to progress the story. Guys, I have bad news. I don't think this challenge is possible. To get some answers from previously alive Kellogg, we visit the memory den in Good Neighbor and go inside Kellogg's memories. In his memories, we learn that Sean was in fact taken by the Institute, and the only way to get inside said Institute is teleportation. Another noteworthy piece of knowledge gained from Kellogg's memories is that a scientist named Virgil escaped the Institute and is currently hiding somewhere in the glowing sea. The only problem is that the radiation in the glowing sea is capable of turning the frogs gay, and guess who just lost his only fusion core before even reaching the very edge of the glowing sea? Now I decided to dip my toes in anyways and to see if I get any cool superpowers like tentacles coming out of my ass or something, and that's when it hit me. Along the way to Virgil's cave, there are several fast travel points, so what I can do is discover one of them, fast travel back to Diamond City to remove my radiation from Dr. Sun, fast travel back to the glowing sea, and continue my journey forward while repeating the same strategy. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I came closer to dying than a man of color reaching for his wallet in front of a state trooper. But to my surprise, I actually made it all the way to Virgil's cave without even having to resort to cheating and cutting it out of the video. After a little chat with Virgil, he tells me to go kill an Institute courser for a piece of his brain, which we can then use to teleport inside the Institute. I fast traveled to Sanctuary to pick up some wood I got from scrapping stuff, sold it all to Arturo in Diamond City to buy some ammo, and arrived at the Green Tech Genetics to kill the courser. When running through the homoerotic torture chamber that is Green Tech Genetics, I made sure to treat every bullet just like the Lucky McDonald's Shrek glass I keep stored in my rectum, only using them when absolutely necessary and even reloading a previous save if I happen to miss. All in all, I was able to run past most of the gunners, only shooting when necessary, and found the courser with 111 bullets remaining. I was able to take out the courser with a swift sneak attack when he walked around the corner. I picked up his brain piece since I had no say in the matter, executed everyone for good luck, and left the Green Tech Genetics in search of a better life. It was but a short jog to the railroad where Peeping Tom decodes the chip. I returned to Virgil for the teleporter schematics and convinced Preston to convince Sturgis to help me build the teleporter. This is the reason why I allowed scrapping in the challenge rules, because there is no way in hell I could have ever gotten the materials for the teleporter otherwise. The perceptive amongst you may have noticed that even after scrapping most of Sanctuary, I was still missing 2 junk items to build the teleporter. Fortunately, I was able to pretty easily buy the biometric scanner I needed from Percy, but getting the military-grade circuit board was a bitch. According to my good friend Gemini AI, it is possible to buy the military-grade circuit board, it's just incredibly rare for a shop to have it in stock. The shops restock every 48 hours, so I had to spend a whole 45 minutes doing an endless loop of visiting 3 different shops, getting disappointed, sleeping for 48 hours, and visiting the same shops until the RNG eventually went in my favor. That was easily one of the worst things I have ever done in my life, and that's coming from a man who once used industrial-grade hand sanitizer as lube. Now inside the Institute, I made sure to download the schematics on how to build a submissive femboy robot and eventually found my long-lost son, Sean. Except, that's not Sean. He doesn't even have my white-ass nose, crooked jawline, or massive sound-absorbing ears. An evil scientist named Father enters the room and tells me that he did extensive facial surgery on poor Sean so nobody would recognize him as my son. Not even me. Sean was officially dead to me, so I riddled Father's body with bullets, ran past all the synths, and escaped the Institute unharmed. Back in Sanctuary, I let Preston gargle my balls know that it was officially time for war and that we had to destroy the Institute no matter the cost. I really wish I hadn't said that because the cost ended up being my mental health. Preston here really loves his settlements, so naturally he sends me to recruit more of them before we can attack the Institute. And after 2 hours of what's probably classified as psychological torture, I realized something here was very wrong. And no, I'm not talking about the Deathclaw going against a mutated bear in a 1 versus 1. The Deathclaw won, by the way. In my Fallout 4 no damage video, I ran into a problem where no matter how many settlements I recruited for the Minutemen cause, Preston just would not give me the quest to retake the castle. I don't know if it's one of my mods or if Preston is self-aware and evil, but I ran into that exact same problem this playthrough as well. According to various sources on Google, I could try to retake the Minutemen castle by myself to fix this problem. So, I scrapped the entirety of Abernathy farm, sold everything I got to buy some ammo, and began clearing out the Mirelurk infestation in the castle. I had over 200 bullets when I started, but after taking out the Mirelurk Queen and expertly missing what was left of my ammo supply, I successfully retook the Minutemen castle with 0 bullets remaining. To absolutely no one's surprise, retaking the Minutemen castle by myself didn't fix shit, so it was officially time for Plan B. I forgot to record it, but after messing around with a couple of console commands I found on Google, I was actually able to fix the situation and progress the Minutemen questline like normal. Now that the game was finally somewhat working as intended, I went back to Diamond City to sell some stuff, buy some more ammo, and return to defend the Minutemen castle. The battle to defend the castle was tough, as I had nothing to heal myself with except for a few dozen Mirelurk eggs, but after gun bashing the last 2 enemies remaining, because I ran out of ammo midway through, we successfully fended off the attack on the castle. It was now time to take the fight to the Institute, so I went ahead and sold everything I had to buy as much ammo as possible and infiltrated the Institute from their sewer system. After taking out a few synths inside the sewer system, I infiltrated the Institute and teleported my entire Minutemen army of 2 farmers and a Preston. The battle looked very promising in the beginning as we mowed through the Institute security with relative ease. But slowly and surely, the limited amount of ammunition I was able to buy started running out, and it was not looking very good. Completely out of ammo, as well as any type of healing, I was now almost as useless as a newborn baby with no limbs and had to rely on Preston Garlic to get me out of this pickle I'm in. Once we eventually made it to the reactor room, I was somehow able to sneak right past the synths in plain sight, don't ask me how, run to the reactor and plant the bomb while barely escaping with a sliver of HP remaining. Next up, it was time to leave what was no longer my son to die in the upcoming explosion, teleport my white ass to safety, and blow up the Institute, successfully failing to beat Fallout 4 without looting.